before Mom and Dad and I go to Indiana, I wanted to share something with you guys. When the idea of going to visit my birth mom first came up, I thought it would make things uncomfortable. But a part of me wanted to fill this missing piece of the puzzle.
Honey, do you feel that something's been missing from your life?
I guess I shouldn't say missing piece of the puzzle. It's more about asking the question of what my life would have been like, and just simply thanking Melissa for the choice that she made.
Honey, puzzles are a big part of life, right? And if you want to fill in a piece that you don't have, we're all for it.
I think that this trip might even be a discovery of how big that piece is. And not just for you, but for all of us.
So we're here with the Kendrick Brothers. Guys, just so thankful that you'll spend just a few minutes with us here. And I know you guys don't need any introduction, but would you guys be willing to introduce yourselves here real quick?
Sure. I'm Alex Kendrick. My brother's Stephen Kendrick. We also have a brother, Shannon. He likes to be behind the scenes, though. He's our older brother. And we do movies together. We've been doing Christian films for 20 years now, and are excited about our current release, LIFEMARK, based on a true story. And it was just released through Fathom Events in theaters, did better than most of their films, and they were excited about that. And we're now excited that it is available streaming today on PureFlix.com, as well as coming out on DVD, Blu-ray in mid-December. And this true story, it's going to grab your heart, and it is a beautiful story about adoption and pro-life. And we just share the movie as it really happened in real life. And it was one of the most powerful stories we've heard.
So before we get to some of the whys you guys are doing, the movies and the media that you guys have been, tell us a little bit about this movie in particular that's coming out. Or that has come out, that's now starting to release and stream and all that.
Sure. We had finished the movie Overcomer a few years ago. Kirk Cameron gives us a phone call. Says, guys, you got to look at this story. I just saw it on the internet. It's for free. It's a short little like documentary type video. And we watched it. And it's about an 18-year-old girl who at the last second rolls off the abortion table, says, I don't want to do this. She walks out of the clinic, places her baby for adoption. When the baby's adopted, this couple that could not have their own children that adopted the baby named him David, and they raised him in a loving home. When David turned about 18 years old, he was able to cross paths with the biological mother, Melissa. And when he met her, it was filmed just by a friend, and we saw that video. Man, it will grab your heart. He hugs her, weeps with her, says, thank you for the decision you made, for the family you allowed me to have. She wept and just melted. And they both speak around the country now about the value of adoption life. David, in fact, is newly married. He's now in his mid-20s, is a lawyer that helps other families adopt children. Oh, wow. So we said, this movie's got to be told. We could just present it exactly the way it happened. Mm-hmm. And so Kirk Cameron joined us, and we did some things in this movie we've never done before. Number one, it's exactly a true story, but we were able to de-age actors 20 years. So you see them in their mid-30s to mid-50s over the course of this adoption journey. Mm-hmm. And it was a fun, beautiful film. So LIFEMARK, available PureFlix now and on DVD, Blu-ray in mid-December. And it was a joy to meet the real people and have them on set with us.
So I bet it's safe to say that over the last 20 years, technology has changed just a little bit to make some of this a little bit more accessible. Like de-aging, that's like blowing my mind a little bit, just the capacity to do that now.
Well, and we did it in a way where we used two new softwares that we don't know if they've ever been used before to de-age like this. You know, we've seen versions of that. You know, you're watching a Star Wars movie and you see a young Carrie Fisher and her face looks kind of plastic, you know, or something. She's like digitally reproduced and stuff. But this worked in LIFEMARK. You know, we worked really hard behind the scenes to pull it off. We tried some new methods. We were wondering, is this really going to work? And it does. And so when people watch the film, it's interesting because this movie presents everybody's perspective. Yeah. It presents the teenage girl's perspective and her boyfriend when they're in an unwanted pregnancy and they're freaking out about it. It presents the child's perspective as he's growing up, what his life is like. It presents the adopted parent's perspective. And then fast forward and you see how one courageous decision can impact a whole generation. And that oftentimes when people are in a crisis and they're afraid and they don't know what to do and they're being pressured, they just give in to the pressure. But Melissa actually, she said she heard a voice laying on the abortion table, get up, there's still time. And so she kind of is freaking out. She sits up and she says, I can't do this. And then you fast forward to her seeing all the positive things that came out of that decision. And so this movie, you can't argue with a true story. This is not a political film. You know, this movie is about life and about beating hearts and about real stories and real families and real life. And we think that love, you talked about motives, you know, what's the why behind what we do? Scripture says that we need to plug love in as the motivation behind what we do, because it actually provides rocket fuel and clarity for our decisions. So we believe that love chooses life, that it's not about politics, it's about love. And this movie really presents it using a true story in spades.
So we've seen Fireproof had some great success. War Room had some great success. I mean, we still see the effects of how that has happened in the church and on culture, and with some other directors in the faith-based, you know, like American Underdog absolutely took off as well. So with the success that you guys have seen and that the Christian films and media and that has seen, what do you think people are looking for? Why do you think that these are becoming so successful with all the high dollar and all the money that Hollywood's putting into a different direction in culture?
Right.
Well, we love telling stories, and so does a growing number of faith filmmakers. We love telling stories with hope, with truth, with the attributes that we do want in our lives. And we want to honor the Lord who made us. And so honoring God and having his hand of favor is the greatest thing you and I could ever want for what we're working on. So yes, we want a growing level of excellence and quality, but at the same time, it's not void of the power of the Lord. When his hand is on it, when it grabs your heart, man, that is something that the world cannot duplicate. Yes, the world can give you high expenses and excellence in technical and dramatic production, but they cannot bring the power of God the way only God can. So when we tap into what the Lord wants us to do first, and we are growing in a level of excellence, those are two wonderful ingredients. And so we're seeing that in the shows like The Chosen with Dallas Jenkins, or the Irwin brothers making films as well. They have a new one coming out called is it
Jesus Revolution?
Yeah, Jesus Revolution that we just saw. Man, it's powerful.
Really good.
And we're going to keep making movies ourselves. So we're excited about the growing number of people in movies as well as Christian music. It continues to grow in excellence. And as long as we're honoring the Lord and seeking his hand on us, good things are going to happen.
Well, and in the Christian music world, that for so long, Christian music was considered cheesy and subpar and low budget and not as good. And then over the years, there's just been this ongoing pursuit of greater excellence in the quality. And so we've seen it happen in the film realm as the digitalization of media has allowed us to shoot films digitally so much less expensively, and to have access to software that only used to be available to big studios with millions of dollars. And now we pair that with the best stories in the world, the best messages in the world, with the hope and the truth that comes through a relationship with Jesus. And so when people watch, the dark movies that come out in our culture, when they binge watch on Netflix, how do they feel when they're done watching something? When they watch people slaughter one another, when people stab each other in the back, when they watch people sleep around, it's a bunch of sin that's exciting for the moment to get your heart beating, but leaves you feeling empty, ashamed, guilty, dirty, hopeless afterwards. And we're able to present with our movies not only an entertaining story where you're laughing, entertaining, caught on the edge of your seat, and shedding a tear 1 minute, laughing the next minute, but we're also, when people leave our films, they're like, man, there's hope, there's inspiration, there's some good things to focus in on. I've got clarity for my decisions now. I want to go love my spouse rather than chew them out. I want to go love my kids rather than neglect them as a result of seeing this film. So we're trying to route people towards love, because that's the kind of movie that we want to see ourselves.
So with this partnership that you have with PureFlix, why PureFlix and why work with an exclusive deal with them instead of trying to push it on Netflix or some of the other major streams?
Well, PureFlix, when they started out, we were all kind of looking at them and watching them and going, okay, how well is this going to go? And the options were not plentiful at that point. But as time has gone by, PureFlix is up to a couple hundred options on their channel, and they're growing in momentum. And so we're excited that they are offering LifeMark today, that you can stream LifeMark through pureflix.com. And so all of us have to start somewhere, but we want to grow in excellence, grow in caliber. And so PureFlix is doing that. So we're excited about that. And they're also generating original media at a growing level as well. So we're excited about being on PureFlix. We're excited that the DVD Blu-ray with tons and tons of extra features that you're going to love is coming out in mid-December. You can digitally download it or get the DVD Blu-ray December 13th. And so it's a wonderful process, and we want to encourage those in the Christian faith space to impact the most people possible at a growing level of excellence. So we're excited about it.
And so as we close here, guys, I got to ask, Christian music, what has been impacting you guys? What are the artists that impact you guys? And what has made it into your films? And what's the impact of the Christian music and what you guys do?
Well, I would say we grew up listening to CCM artists as teenagers. We were listening to Stephen Curtis Chapman, Michael David Smith, Amy Grant, Petra, Whiteheart. We went to a Stryper concert. So that was our earlier days. As you get older, your diet changes, where worship music is one of my favorite things to listen to. But I love listening to For King and Country. I'll listen to K-Love, but I also, our church has incredible worship music that just points you back to God. You feel so refreshed, focusing your heart back on the Lord. And so, but we're so grateful for those that love Jesus. They pursue excellence, and there's a good wide variety of quality music that's available that's inspirational and edifying. And so our interaction with so many artists, we've tried to incorporate Christian music into our films. We've got a Need to Breathe song for a few seconds in LifeMark. We've got if you remember the band Royal Taylor that Taryn Wells is a part of, we love a song called Remain that we put in the credits because it fits this film, fits the message of the film. And so we like to be able to be a peanut butter and jelly cross promotion between good music and good movies.
Peanut butter and jelly. I love it. Well, guys, I just very much appreciate you spending the time here.
Well, thank you. Great to talk to you.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Susan? It's the adoption agency. There's a birth mother on the line with a question for you.
For me?
I resubmitted our application.
You did? She's on the phone right now? Hello?
Hi, is this Susan?
Yes?
I just wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
You said in your letter that you like to go fishing, and I just want to know how you bait your hook.
When we go fishing, we use the kakaho minnow, and you have to put the hook through the eye of the minnow. That's the way I've always baited my hook.
That's really good. Then I want you to be the mother.
What did she say?
She wants me to be the mom.
What?